Hi everyone, my name is Heather McAloon. It's been a little hectic in my house. We just got in Colorado because my husband and I PCS'd up here. I've also just started a new full-time government job and I'm a full-time online college student. So not only between moving to our new house we just bought, work and school was a little hectic. I did order my book online, however, it got put back a week, I guess because of the location, I'm not even sure. And then it got sent to the wrong house and it was just one thing after the other. So I went ahead and bought it online, so when the new actual book comes in, then I'll be set with both apparently. I do have his paper in my hand, you will see it. It's just the information that we did earlier that has the publication date, the author, the illustrator, the activity and all that I'm going to explain after the story. I did read the other side. As you can see, there's a picture on my phone. Yes, I'm sorry, there's a glare. Like I said, the book is coming in, just unfortunately not enough time. I waited to the last minute though. So it's Jaqueline Woodson who wrote their book, and the illustrator was E.B. Lewis. The G.P. Putnam Son was the publisher, and the copyright date is January 15th, 2001. It is fiction. I feel like an appropriate age group, probably about 4 to 8, 5 to 8, somewhere around in those areas. You can read it higher. I read the book, and honestly, I actually did like it. I feel like it kind of relates to what we were talking about, because earlier we were talking about segregation, and this story is about a fence that was separated two kids, a colored child and a white child, and they didn't understand why the fence was there in the first place. And I feel like if we teach the children young about, you can't judge someone based on the color of their skin, that you just judge them based on who they are as a person, then they might be able to understand that better. And because unfortunately it does still happen nowadays in our present. And if we teach them young, it might change our future. You never know. So moving on. So this is the second page of the book, and it does say who wrote it and who illustrated it and all, like I told you earlier. So the story begins. That summer, the fence that stretched through our town seemed bigger. We lived in a yellow house on one side of it. Which, as you can see, I know there's a glare, but it is yellow, I promise. White people lived on the other. And Mama said, "Don't climb over that fence when you play." She said it wasn't safe. That summer, there was a girl who wore a pink sweater. This is the fence, by the way. Sorry. It's not showing. Each morning she climbed up on the fence and stared over at our sides. Sometimes I stared back. She never sat on that fence with anybody. That girl didn't. Alright. And there's a picture of the girl with the fence. Sorry, it took me a second. My phone was shut off. Okay, so once we were jumping rope, she asked if she could play, and my friend Sandra said no without even asking. And said no without even asking the rest of us. I don't know what I would have said. Maybe yes, maybe no. That summer, everyone and everything on the other side of that fence seemed far away. When I asked my mama why, she said because that's the way things have always been. Sometimes when me and Mama went to town, I saw that girl with her mama. She looked sad, that girl did. "Don't stare," my mama said. "It's not polite." That's them walking down the road, and she sees the white girl. It rained a lot that summer. On rainy days, that girl sat on the fence in a raincoat. She let herself get all wet and acted like she didn't even care. Sometimes I saw her dancing around in puddles, splashing and laughing. It's the girl in the puddles. Mama wouldn't let me go out in the rain. That's why I bought you rainy day toys," said Mama. "You stay inside here where it's warm, safe, and dry." But every time it rained, I looked for that girl, and I always found her, somewhere near the fence. Sometimes, so see, she's looking out the window in this one where she's trying to see the girls outside. Someplace in the middle of summer, the rain stopped. When I walked outside, the grass was damp and the sun was already high in the sky. And I stayed there with my hands in the air. I felt brave that day. I felt free. Okay. I got close to the fence and that girl asked me my name. "Clover," I said. "My name's Annie," she said. "Annie Paul. I live over yonder," she said. "But where you see the laundry? That's my blouse hanging on the line." She smiled then. She had a pretty smile. I know you can't really see it. Unfortunately, the glare. But you can see the red hair of hers peeking through the fence. And then I smiled, and we stood there looking at each other, smiling. "It's nice up on this fence. You can see all over." I ran my hand along the fence. I reached up and touched the top of it. "A fence like this was made for sitting on," Annie said. She looked at me sideways. "My mama says I shouldn't go on the other side," I said. "My mama says the same thing, but she never said anything about sitting on it." "Neither did mine." That summer, me and Annie sat on the fence together. And when Sandra and them looked at me funny, I just made believe I didn't care. Some mornings my mama watched us. I waited for her to tell me to get down from that fence before I break my neck or something. But she never did. "I see you made a new friend," she said one morning. And I nodded, and Mama smiled. That summer, me and Annie sat on the fence and watched the whole wide world around us. One day, Sandra and them were jumping near the fence, and we asked if we could play. "I don't care," Sandra said. And when we jumped, Sandra and me were partners, the way we used to be. That's everybody together, jumping rope. When we were too tired to jump anymore, we all sat up on the fence of us in a long time. Someday, somebody's going to come along and knock this old fence down," Annie said. And I nodded, "Yeah," I said, "someday." So as you can see, that's the end of the story. And I know a lot of people probably haven't read this. I haven't read it, and I found it online, so that's how I got lucky. So, as you can see, like I said, the fence was separating both sides for the color from the white girl. And it was like a segregation thing. That shouldn't have happened that way. And as you can see, the little kids didn't even realize why the fence was there. All the parents could say was, "It's always been that way, it's just not safe." And unfortunately, some people still feel that way. That is why when we start young, we teach the kids, we start them young, they might grow up to say, "Okay, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, I like you for who you are." And so if they do that, maybe our future will be brighter. So I figured an activity someone could do is they randomly get placed with a partner. They don't see them, they don't know who it is, and there's a cardboard, like a piece of cardboard with a fence on it, and it's put between them. They don't introduce themselves. I figured they could just sit there and talk, get to know each other. And then toward the end, when it's time's up, they remove the fence. And so they stand up and see who they were talking to, meet the new friend they were talking about. And then they stand up and tell what they liked about that person, what similarities they have, how they felt about that person. And they realize that just because they're different, a different color of skin, different personalities, different backgrounds for all we know, that it doesn't matter. All that matters is what's inside of them, of if they like them or not. I mean, kids don't look for that stuff. They just want to have fun and play. And so I think that if we read this story and show kids starting them young, I think it can make a difference in the world. Thank you.